important is it, as you prepare for a home game Saturday afternoon against a team around you, having had the result you had in the week, that you respond and everything is about putting right some of the things that went wrong at Grimsby the other night?
Yeah, we mentioned it straight away in the dressing room after the game that we have to make sure it's a blip. We've come too far and did too much hard work October, November to allow this to become an issue again. We put a lot of things right over the last 2 months, and we can't allow one performance, one defeat to become two. So we need to be right bang at it tomorrow from 3 o'clock.
What's the approach of the management team and you guys as the senior players? Obviously, you're the captain in there. Do you look into every minute detail of it? Do you try and draw a line under it and move on to the next thing? What's the balance like?
I don't think you try to look too much into it. You try to realise that we weren't going to go the whole rest of the season without being undefeated. We are going to lose games at certain times, and the important thing is that it doesn't become two become three. You need to get back as soon as possible and get some points on the board. So it was addressed briefly after the game on Tuesday in the dressing room. We were off on Wednesday, and then we had a quick meeting Thursday where we went over a few things, and the atmosphere has been good Thursday, Friday in training.
Just on the element of the FA Cup and extra time the previous Saturday, and the manager said after the game that he detected tiredness from the players. How hard is it to manage that? I know we've talked before about as you get older you have to manage your workload and your training load and even sometimes the games that you play. Is that something that everybody has to be aware of, and sometimes you're not aware of it until it happens? Yeah,
I think you have to be aware of that, but I think the part of it that maybe players don't even realise, and certainly people from the outside, is the mental tiredness. So we've got a lot of players in our squad this year who this is their first season, or first maybe second season in professional football, playing a lot of Saturday, Tuesday games. And it's mentally tiring. It's very difficult to turn up every day ready to go, and you have to train yourself to be able to do that. And lads are learning on the job that there's no days off. You need to be ready to go whenever you're called upon. And that was something that we spoke about on Thursday. And you learn it with experience, I think. And the lads they're doing well. They're becoming more equipped for the demands that league and cup football put upon you physically and mentally. And we need to be prepared now because we've got a busy Christmas leading into the new year with lots of games.
This might be a daft question, and stop me if it is. The cup draw situation and Liverpool, and it's been announced as a TV game today, for example. Is it human nature that excites you as a football person, as a football fan? And is that something perhaps that less experienced players that you're talking about there might find it difficult to put to one side for 6 weeks?
Well, I mean, I'll give you an example myself. I was actually watching the draw because I was at my son's training on Monday night. I was watching the draw. And it was on iPlayer, so it was delayed a little bit, and I saw the text messages coming through from the players, and it was just emojis. So, but I kind of had an idea that something big was going to come up. So then Liverpool came up, number 51, and I was trying to shout on to my little lad, and I must have sounded like hub, 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 hub. You know, he couldn't make out what I was saying because I was just so excited. Eventually, I composed myself and told him Liverpool away, and he was made up as well. But it shows you it affects us all, you know. And I think that's something the manager addressed then after the game on Tuesday, that we had it was difficult to fall asleep Monday night for a lot of us. The adrenaline was pumping. We've had the journey to Grimsby. Not excuses, just reasons to look at. But again, it shows it has an effect on all of us, and we need to make sure that we're mentally strong to be able to take in our stride, the ups and the downs.
Do you have to approach it, and I know for various reasons you've been in this position where you've missed out on some of these big occasions. You've sat next to me a couple of times in these big cup ties. Do you have to use it as I have to play as well as I possibly can between now and then? I have to keep myself as fit as I can between now and then in order to be able to play in it, rather than it sort of looming over you?
Yeah, I don't think you want to be. I think the best way to do it is just I know it's a cliche, but take one game at a time. And if you do that and you manage yourself, you prepare yourself for each game, the result will be that you perform at your best. And you present yourself, you're the best version of yourself to the manager, to the assistant manager, to the coaching staff, to choose you on any given day. So I from my own personal point of view, I'm certainly not thinking anywhere further than tomorrow against Bromley. Like I say, I think we've got 6 or 7 league games before we play Liverpool. And we need to make sure we put as many points on the board before then as we can do. Because at the moment, I think we're 20th in the division. We need to move up that table and fast.
From a personal point of view, how's it been this season? I know being here and getting the new deal in the summer was a big thing for you. You've kind of been a little bit in and out.
Yeah, it was very difficult at the start for me. I found it when I was playing, the results, I felt a big. I felt under pressure personally. I knew that the manager and the coach and the assistant manager were under pressure, and I felt for them. I was desperate to win games for them. Eventually, we did. Then I go out the team, and we kick on from there. And the lads have done great the last 2 months, and that's why I say we can't let this become more than a blip. You know, we don't want to go back to the days of August and September. We want to keep the atmosphere around the club that we've generated through October and into November. The style of football that we're playing, I think we've been really on the front foot, really a good attacking pace in the team, which I really love playing with and then watching at the moment. But you know, scoring goals is always exciting, so that's something we need to continue to do.
Do you feel a heightened sense of responsibility then, even when you're not playing in the team? Because I guess you've been here longer than anybody now.
I do, but and just because you don't want to come back into a team that's struggling, you know, you don't want to come back into a team that's looking over their shoulder thinking if we lose today we're in the relegation zone. You want to come back into a team that's full of confidence. That's an easier team to play in. It's difficult carrying the responsibility. I know that as senior players you're expected to do that, but it certainly doesn't get any easier. So yeah, desperate for the team to win, whether I'm in the starting 11 or on the bench or watching from the stands. Desperate for the team to win because, you know, as soon as I get back in the team, you want to be playing in a team that's full of confidence and going that way.
Is there a weird sense of pride when they're doing well and they're winning games, and particularly yourself and Sean Worley aren't in the team? Yeah,
there is. Yeah, I mean, Sean mentioned it after the Chesterfield game. He put a little message in the WhatsApp group saying how proud he was to be watching the lads from the stand. And I felt that same feeling as well, because we've had chats, we've had conversations, we've worked on things on the training ground, we've tried to give them our experiences. Sometimes maybe we've done it in the wrong way. I know that I've had to look at the way that I speak to players, how to get the best out of players. I'm always going over it in my mind, what's the best way to get the best out of a certain player. So then when it does come to fruition and you see them building in confidence and you see them becoming league players who can perform Saturday, Tuesday, like we mentioned, there is a feeling of satisfaction that you get from that for sure.
You mentioned looking over your shoulder. It can change very quickly, can't it? You were kind of looking up and there was momentum, and then you lose heavily at Grimsby and suddenly that relegation zone is kind of almost within touching distance of you. How does that affect players psychologically?
Yeah, well, it's not nice. I mean, I'd rather be, you know, mid-table, 10 points clear of the relegation zone if you feel like you could perform better in that scenario. But, you know, maybe it sharpens your focus because we all realise what an important game it is tomorrow. We can go above Bromley with a win. They'll go 5 points ahead of us if they beat us. So yeah, it's funny how quickly it can change. We let 2 points slip against Wimbledon, then we had the game called off, then there's no game because of the FA Cup. A couple of other games happened in the league that weekend when we didn't play, and then we lose to Grimsby, and all of a sudden we're more looking over our shoulder than the situation we were in. But it can change really quickly as well. Lots of games between now and the new year, like I mentioned, and if we were to win 3 or 4, then we'd be on the outskirts of the playoffs.
And I guess Bromley are quite a good example of that. They're in quite good form, having had a bit of an indifferent patch, having come into the league.
Yeah, they've established themselves well as a league team. They had a good win on Wednesday night, so they'll be coming full of confidence. We need to make sure that we match what they do, and well, we need to make sure we better what they do if we want to win the game.